Wow, it's been a while since I've done a video. My apologies. We've been right out straight trying to fuck around with this thing, changing this, changing that, but we've done quite a bit of work since the last time I've posted. Cars are running awesome. David Shoup, shout out to you, man. You dude knows his shit. Tuning, MHD only. No JB4. None of that piggyback on a DME bullshit. Running really, really good. We've gone through a couple of different heat ranges of plugs, and I've added all kinds of different shit since the last posted. But right now, the car runs really good, and I just did a couple of polls. I'll post the videos and add those into here as we go. But currently we're running off the tablet. I still gotta I want to make a holder that sits like a fake cup, and then you can attach the tablet there or something like that. But it runs really, really well. Let me flip this fucking thing around. I think. I don't know how. Oh, guess I can't. So, I've gotten a bunch of shit for this right here. I've done some work. We've rinsed through some heat. I've made some heat shields. I've made an intake. I've made 2 different intakes. The first one was fucking atrocious and hideous. I'll try to add a photo of that in there. But this is what I did. Obviously not painted yet. I'm really, really busy. We added a hood louver. And I made a custom intake. We stuck the dump tube. We made an external dump tube. I shoved it through the hood. Again, it's not painted. I still have to, trim up some stuff, put some screen in. But we got rid of this. This works really, really, really well. Both of those. And the louver, just you can hear the turbo over everything. Everything just, all the sounds, all the blow-off valve, the wastegate, and the turbo, they just flow so well together like this. And I've also made him this intake. Currently we're running just off the wastegate spring pressure. Wow, that's hot. I put in a 15-pound PSI spring in the wastegate, and that's enough. That's a happy medium for me to say, we can add a manual boost controller. We got rid of the boost box. I have yet to even take it up. Don't fuck around with it. Just go manual boost controller. Don't mess around. Unfortunately, as far as on3 is concerned, the boost gauge and the air fuel gauge that they sent us, they're not going good on it. It doesn't work straight out of the box. I even sent a video and made a video to try to get customer service to go good on the boost gauge, because the boost gauge, the air fuel gauge piggybacks off of the boost gauge, and if the boost gauge don't work, well, neither does the fucking air fuel gauge. So they're not going good on it. So we're currently running without a boost gauge and an air fuel gauge, but again, through MHD you can do all that stuff on your own. I just personally like to look at a gauge, a mechanical gauge that, is not run through your DME. I personally like analog stuff. I put this in here for now, temporary, so that when you're working on it, you can check your vacuum. Make sure your vacuum is correct. Oh shit. Dropped you. So we changed out the spring in the blow-off valve because that was too tight. That was another thing we were dealing with. It needs to be open at an idle. It has to. It's 11 PSI spring, or else you're going to cause a shit ton of fucking compressor surge if it's not opening and closing at the right time. Don't mind all this mess. This was me checking pressure and level, and it was holding pressure, and I forgot there was still pressure, so she squirted a little. But this is the intake I made. It's going straight. It's nothing but external ambient temperatures that you're sucking in. No engine bay temperatures. I also made an engine cover. I don't have it with me right now, but I made all this. It bolts into the factory locations. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's there. and then the other one is there, and it covers the whole thing. There is ice and water shield, like a dyno mat style heat protector on the bottom side of it to also protect all these wires. I just don't have it on right now. We've done quite a bit of different things. Yeah, wastegate works really well. Turbo, I don't know, it spins pretty. Last time I checked it, I'm going to pull the intake off here in probably another 100 or 200 miles and check the free spin on the impeller, because it had quite a bit of resistance straight out of the box, and it was just kind of a concern of mine. As a upgraded dual ball bearing billet impeller, should have spun a little more freely than what it did. I'll add in that video too as well. I don't even remember where we left off, but yeah, as far as we're concerned, we just hit we're at 25 psi and it's running hard. I also moved the meth controller into, a lot of people are gonna probably disagree and whatever, that's not my concern. Part of the two-stage, Jesus, that's hot. Part of the two-stage meth controller. I'm not a fan of that. Don't ever go with your charge pipe meth distribution. The real way to distribute your meth is into each port, by, you know, individually. But for now, this is what we're working with. I'd like to, you know, get the Devil's Own individual meth spray kit. But you know, we have the snow kit to work with, so this is what I did to help with compressor cooling and distribution of and vaporization of the meth itself. Running really well. Running temps is usually 205 to, I don't know, 220ish. And 220 is usually 220 to 240 is usually normal. So we gained there. The IATs, I have yet to do like a comparison as opposed to this intake and just the cone filter intake, because there was quite a debate on that with a bunch of know-it-alls. So I can't wait to prove you motherfuckers wrong. And that's where we're at. Goes good, runs good, and I'll post a couple of different videos. Any questions, feel free to ask. And if you have any more advanced questions, hit up David Shoup, S-H-O-U-P. He's on Facebook, part of the N54, N55 support group, forum. A lot of knowledgeable guys on there, a lot of ding-dongs too. Use your knowledge and your common sense to weed out the dum-dums and weed out the knowledgeable ones that actually care about your vehicle like it's theirs. But David Shoup, he knows his shit. Right on, man. Thank you for your help. So I think the next video is probably going to be the dyno. And, oh Jesus. I think that's when we're going to incorporate the meth, because right now I have the meth turned off for tuning reasons, as we are only available for 93, and the content of meth that he was running, we felt it was diluting the fuel a little more than it should have, cutting the octane down per volume or whatever. It was pulling a lot of timing, is what the tuner said, and I trust his word. So that's what we did. We just shut off for now. We're shutting off the meth, and we're going to tune it to that. And then once we hit the dyno, we'll probably throw, you know, probably even try some E85 and maybe some high test methanol and go from there. I'd really like to see 700 horse, and I really don't see why we can't. I think that's definitely going to be a stopping point for block-wise and rods and rings, and I think that's definitely a good stopping point. But for now, the kit itself is working fairly well, runs good. Don't fuck around with your plugs. Get new plugs. Get the right range, the right coils, everything. You're gonna end up wasting your time with 30 FF and misfires, and that's what I've noticed. Everybody that plugs in MHD, as soon as they plug it in, they start dealing with 30 FF, and it's like it's kind of frustrating, and it puts a sour taste in your mouth. But you gotta stick with it. You gotta, you know, be smarter than the vehicle that you're trying to work on. Don't let it win. So this is where we're at. Thanks, guys. don't think these gauges are right, man. I'm just hooking them up now, and everything's hooked up the way that it should be. And this is stuck on like -8 without it even being plugged in. And right now it's plugged in, but it doesn't. It should be lighting up. Everything's backwards. I think they're burnt out or something. But watch, they don't turn on till you turn the car off, and only the air fuel turns on. And look, it's still stuck on. I've got power. I don't think these gauges are right, man. I'm just hooking them up now, and everything's hooked up the way that it should be. And this is stuck on like -8 without it even being plugged in. And right now it's plugged in, but it doesn't. It should be lighting up. Everything's backwards. I think they're burnt out or something. But watch, they don't turn on till you turn the car off, and only the air fuel turns on. And look, it's still stuck on. I've got power. I don't think these gauges are right, man. I'm just hooking them up now, and everything's hooked up the way that it should be. And this is stuck on like -8 without it even being plugged in. And right now it's plugged in, but it doesn't. It should be lighting up. Everything's backwards. I think they're burnt out or something. But watch, they don't turn on till you turn the car off, and only the air fuel turns on. And look, it's still stuck on. I've got power.